Hey, it's Rocks 2001 back again making a video on the Sega Genesis Model 1. Now, it's not the original one that says high definition graphics, but not like I really care. But my good friend Karikumi1999 is getting one on, I think, eBay to buy it now, and it has high definition graphics, which means that's the launch model of the Sega Genesis. They're actually better than these models. Now, this isn't like the model that came out like in 1991, but this is actually a late Model 1 Genesis because, well, I'll go to further detail and explain why. Here you got your power switch. Whenever you power it on, you get the red LED. Have your reset button right here, the volume slider, and the headphone jack for, you could use either headphones or you can use one of those cables and hook it to your TV to get stereo. So yeah. Right here is the cartridge slot. It has these tabs here. If you were to cut the tabs, you could fit a Mega Drive game, but you need to do some mods to do that. But I'm not a huge modder. So yeah. Sonic 3D Blast. I really recommend this game. It's great. Has one incredible music. Front, you have two controller ports. You can either use regular controllers, or you can even use wireless Sega Genesis controllers. Those things are awesome. I mean, there would be a receiver that plugged into here, and you'd have wireless Genesis controllers. You want to see that review? Go check out Classic Game Room. He does awesome reviews, is all I can say. On the side, you have a expansion slot. Well, more like a place where you can plug in a Sega CD. If you were going to get a Sega CD, you're probably searching for a Model 2, which may spill off to the side, but it would look better on a Model 2 Sega Genesis, but I use this Genesis a lot more. So, on the back you have, now this is a late model Genesis. On the early ones, this would be where the extension port is. And the power adapter would be right here, then the AV, then the RF, then the channel switch. If this was a middle, like Sega Genesis that was released in like mid-1990 to early 92, there'd be a blank spot right here. And that would have a similar board to the one with the extension port. I don't know what the extension port was too, so I can't really judge it. And also what's interesting about this model Genesis, this piece that's red is a separate piece of plastic. On the earlier Sega Genesis, this was actually part of the circle, and the words Genesis would be multiple colors and not just white. So, on the power adapter is a Class 1 model Genesis, model number 1602-1. You could also use this for, well, use it for a Model 1 Sega Genesis. I don't recommend using this on it with the NES, or using an NES power adapter for a Sega Genesis, because it would destroy this thing. Had to go like through two of these. This is my second one because my first one wouldn't even start up. It had the wrong AC adapter. It didn't even have the official Sega RF adapter, which really sucks, but what can you do? I do have the Sega Auto RF switch. Now, Silver Mongoose had one, but his was broken. He mentioned that you can use a Nintendo RF adapter, but I'm going to use this one because I like the... Sorry about that. I just like the look of this one. So, yeah. And let's review the Sega Genesis controller. So, yeah. It's pretty standard. You got the directional pad, which actually feels pretty good in the hands. You got your A, B, and C buttons, and start button. Written Sega Genesis right at the front. On the back you have hand grips, and this was made in Taiwan. This is the model number 1650. So yeah. You can also use these on like a Sega Master System because their controllers just only had two buttons, because it has a similar plug. It also has the same plug as an Atari 2600 and an Atari 7800. I think it has the same plug as a Vectrex. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, yeah. So, if you're going to use Sega Genesis, I think you might I think this controller is very more comfortable than a Master System controller. Because the Master System, people complain about it saying, it doesn't feel as good as the NES one. Well, I can't really judge it because I don't own a Sega Master System. I would like to, but they're expensive. There's even an adapter to plug into the Sega Genesis, but it only works on these Model 1s to play Master System games. And they're so expensive. They're like hundreds of dollars. Lower the prices, people. You're going crazy with the prices. Come on. Just lower it. That's all I can say. I'm going to go ahead and hook this up in my older TV because, well, my current TV does not do a good job on RF. So I'm going to go ahead and hook it up and show you some gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, I got the Sega Genesis hooked up to my TV right now. Let's zoom in the camera. Right now I have Sonic the Hedgehog in there. I just need to plug in a controller and we'll get started. Right now I have it on channel 3, that being CBS where I'm at. Turn on the console, and then you get the Sega message. So yeah, showing you Sega. Sonic Team presents Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, this game is okay. It's not a launch game, but I'll show you a bit of some gameplay. Back when the Genesis was released in '89, I wasn't a Genesis person, I was a Super Nintendo person. I was too young to own a game console back in the day, but I will tell you the Genesis had its year in times. Also, here's some interesting facts. In these trees, you get some secrets. I don't think anybody's ever figured that out. Kill these enemies. Get across. Going across. Ah. Get across. Come on. Get up there. Yeah. Come on, keep the... Yikes. Yeah. Check that out. Pretty cool, huh? And the controller, it feels very responsive. I mean, if you get a Genesis, get this game. It's a classic. I played this game back in like 2003. I never owned a Genesis back in the day. I had Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, and the R's mean reverse or flip or something. No, 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 not that way, not that way, not that way. No! No, no, no! Sorry if I'm freaking out, guys, but... The object is to get the Chaos Emerald and not hit the goal, otherwise you lose. Come on, Sonic. Break through, break through, break through. Yeah. There you go! Sorry if this is a terrible Genesis review, but I usually don't show gameplay, but yeah. That's the Sega Genesis. Now I'm going to give final thoughts on it. So enjoy. Okay, my final thoughts on the Sega Genesis. If you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, I totally recommend it. They also have other good games like Streets of Rage, aka Bare Knuckle. I mean, the Power Light is pretty cool. I mean, it's alright being red or blue, depending what mod you've done to it. However, if you're going to get a Genesis, I suggest you go composite. And use the sound out of the headphone jack. Unless you have only mono, then you can use the audio from the back. It's your decision, not mine. I'm not forcing you to. And if you want to get Genesis games, you can get a Sega EverDrive that can uses a SD card and pops into the Genesis. I've seen M12Bird actually done that and put some audio from the game Tip on, or whatever it was called, and played the audio from the Sega Saturn version. That's pretty cool. I mean, if I ever had a Sega EverDrive, I would definitely download it and play it on this TV. Well, I'd use composite and use it on my other TV and do that. Anyway, that's my Sega Genesis review. If you're after a Sega Genesis, I'm not forcing you to choose any model Sega Genesis. You can go for the Model 1, which has great audio. However, you might want to get an earlier one than this one. I don't give a crap about this one being a late Model 1. All I care about is, I can say, I have a Model 1 Sega Genesis. Anyway, this is Rico Rocks 2001 saying, have a nice day.